Well, today I want to do a proper video and discussion on something brought up in one of my live streams. The new California proposal. I have several articles listed in the description regarding this topic, and I implore you to at least skim them and take note in the differences in language between one such as Fox News in comparison to others such as New York Post. With the pleasantries aside, let's get the show on the road. Now, California is a state with quite the reputation. Beaches, import and export, resorts, vacationing, and of course there's LA skyline, which to someone who has never been to LA personally is even recognizable to me. I mean, much to the same regard, New York City skyline is probably recognizable to most people without anybody actually being there, but that's a different topic. There's something else that California has. Large rural counties and counties with bustling urban areas. Namely the inland versus the coastline. And here's the 2012 election map and 2016 election map respectively. Now when you compare this to the map of the proposed new California, personally I think they could have chosen a better name, but hey, I don't even live on the West Coast, so my opinion is even more irrelevant to that than it normally is. But I digress. Anyway, compared to the map, you'll notice that a majority of the counties that are splitting away from California as a state, keeping in mind that this is always subject to change as counties agree to come on or leave for whatever reasons, but it still seems to divide California upon political lines. Of course, this is not entirely true, as some of the proposed counties are blue when compared to the 2012 and 2016 election. A majority of them are red. So what would this mean if this did actually happen? Keeping in mind, despite the support, this could all end in a big nothing burger. But let's say hypothetically, it all played out and the proposed counties did in fact split from California. Well, first and foremost, there would be a massive split in a demographic for electoral votes. California losing 25 to 27, electoral votes to New California, essentially splitting the state in two electoral votes-wise. Although not a clean 50-50 split, as California, as it stands, has a total of 55 electoral votes. Therefore, the split did happen. New California would hold 25 to 27, and California would hold 28 to 30. But still, it makes for an interesting situation in regards to the way that politics are handled in regards to the state as a whole, which as of right now has the most electoral votes, which is followed by Texas, which has 38, and New York, which has 29. But more on New York later. This would force a candidate to not focus on only the coastline for a win in the sun-bathed, beachy state, but rather to do a joint effort addressing the grievances of not only the urban areas, but the rural areas as well. It will be interesting to say the least, especially if the proposed New California lessens taxes along the coast that it does maintain, attracting import to their shores versus the more tax-heavy what would essentially be old California. Personally, I don't think anything will come of it, but if it does happen, it does set a good precedent for states such as my own, which is New York, where our votes are more or less outweighed by New York City, a population of 8.538 million. There's some ambiguity there, obviously, but for the sake of argument, we'll go with the Census Bureau here. And this is as of the 2016 census. Versus the overall state, a population of 19.75 million as of the 2016 census. So New York City, has about 43% of the voting base in the state. Obviously, I'm rounding there, but that's within a decimal, we'll say. And given that New York City is densely Democratic, I mean, if you look at this map, you will see that it is very, very blue in comparison to, oddly, the amount of red around it, but which in and of itself is a surprise to me. But keep in mind, this is the 2016 election versus versus 2012 versus 2016. But that's a topic for another time. It isn't so far-fetched to believe that those of us who live in the northern section, or not even the northern section, the other 98% of the fucking state, want to separate ourselves from what some refer to as, and this is a New York State joke, the vampire state, as it were. So while I don't think anything will come of New California, I hope it does. Because it will set a precedent that may allow those of us in New York and other states that are suffering from the same condition of the city more or less dictating to the rest of the state what it can and can't do, regardless of the fact that those in the city have no idea what goes on in the urban area or the less urban areas. But it will also allow those people to separate from cities and gain some semblance of autonomy. Now, keep in mind, with New York State, the second biggest city is Buffalo. And if you look at the county that Buffalo happens to be in, it's not red, but it's not exactly a heavy blue. And in reality, none of the other counties are realistically a heavy blue other than the city of itself. Which, I suppose, leads me to the conclusion. All I want is, if it does happen, which I do want New California to be a thing, but please pick a new fucking name. The name really doesn't matter that much to me. It just makes me chuckle. But if it does happen, it does set a precedent that can be upheld through other states, not even New York State. It can be held to any state where a majority of the votes are held by a major city versus the rest of the state itself. But I digress. That just about does it for my overall thoughts on this. This was kind of my taking New California and California situation and applying it to my own state. So it involves me rambling a little bit. But with that said, that'll just about do it for this video. And for the record, I did start a new stream every week on Friday. Will be the Lock Your Doors stream. It's 9 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, 8 p.m. Central, with my co-host. Her link will be in the description if you want to check out her YouTube channel. She doesn't have any content out yet, as far as I'm aware, but she is planning on doing videos, so look forward to them as they were. If you disagree with her, disagree with her. If you agree with her, agree with her. It's up to you. We're all individual human beings, after all. But with that said, I still do plan on having my Wednesday stream with a guest that I have yet to announce, and for good reason, I promise, provided that all is good and well on his end and nothing majorly has happened. But with that said, otherwise, I will see you glorious cunts on Thursday. Have a wonderful morning, afternoon, evening, and or night. I'll see you cunts later.